Here we are again, Cyberpunk 2077 patch 1.3 on the base PS4. I've got a GPS point set up for Jig Street. We're gonna go over there. So there's a metric shit ton of patch notes for 1.3. By the way, headwear still takes 3 weeks to pop up. So I think somebody counted, and there were around 430 something bug fixes for this patch. The biggest notable changes that they felt the need to highlight in one of those in-universe pre-patch articles was the fact that the minimap now zooms out when you drive, allowing you to get a wider view of the surrounding area, so you don't, when you reach a corner you're supposed to turn, you basically get a heads up of that now. You don't need to wait until you're on the ass of the corner before being like, oh shit, I gotta turn. The dialogue option in the automatic love quest for Sky and Angel, they've left the window open with the two people's images on them up for longer periods, so people can be as crystal clear as possible about which of these two people they're choosing. Because apparently a lot of people were accidentally choosing the male option when they wanted the female option, and vice versa. Aside from those two, we obviously got the free DLC that was included in patch 1.3. These include 2 new jackets, a new car. The jackets and the vehicles, of course, you will be able to acquire through a very nice in-universe method. Basically, you get text messages from people after you reach a specific point of the game. I think Vic sends you the messages regarding the jackets, and either Dakota or Rogue will send you a message talking about the new vehicle. Anyway, we're approaching Jig Street here. This is where I'm testing the performance, mainly, which is something they've also talked about in these patch notes. They mentioned increased FPS stability. What else did they mention? Better light streaming. I've got like a an actual physical paper note sheet here. Better light streaming, better improvements in memory handling, so of course reducing crashes even more than they had previously. Better, what do you call it? Oh god. These micro freezes, still very present. Better light streaming for street lamps, street lights, that kind of thing. Jig Street, I mean, it kind of just feels the same, really. I mean, what do you think? This is another thing, like, even when I look back at the footage after I record this, the game looks better than it feels when you actually have the controller in your hand, playing it on base PS4. I gotta say, it's not making me, like, lean back in my chair, clap my hands, and be like, wow, this is a game changer. I mean, maybe it's, like, a little bit smoother, but it's nothing really to celebrate about. In all honesty. So in addition to the Sky Angel and the minimap zooming out feature, they also added a alternate way to reallocate, should I say, perk points. All you gotta do is open up your main menu, you gotta go into your character section, and you've got this little bit over here at the bottom, reset perks. Obviously, you gotta pay for this. The alternative before this was implemented was just buying one of those tabular e-rasa things, right? There's no way to readjust attribute points, I don't think, yet in the game. Let's test out the responsiveness of the menus quickly. Oh god, the micro freezing, the micro stuttering. That's one of the things they were talking about in the patch notes then. The improved FPS stability is supposed to minimize these things. Obviously, the pop-in, I mean, Jesus Christ, the pop-in and level of detail loading in is still as atrocious as it's ever been. I don't think they're ever going to fix this, to be honest. When I loaded into this game, in all honesty, I was very impressed. for the first 5 minutes or so, because the game felt like it ran a bit smoother, a bit more consistently 30 FPS. But then I started to drive around and I noticed that it wasn't actually as smooth as I thought it was. They've also reduced the screen space reflection effect so the game looks less grainy on consoles and on PCs with low visual settings. Oh my god, what the hell? What the hell was that mess? Hold on, let me consult my list of changes here as I fall off my bike. Okay, we talked about the minimap zooming in. We've talked about the sky slash angel screen being up for longer. We've talked about the reallocation of the poke points. Oh, yes. This is a feature that I actually think is really, really cool, really neat, aside from the minimap zooming out, which is a feature worthy of hyping up. This feature is really, really neat. So if we go to the journal, you can see when we select one of these quests, we get links to the codex or the database, pertaining to specific characters or areas that will show up in the quest. This is honestly should have been something that was in the game from the start. I think it's a really nice feature. In that pre-patch 1.3 in-universe hype article, this is what they should have focused on instead of the Angel and Sky bullshit. That's actually worth it. Next up on the list, we have another godsend. So fixers will now apparently contact you less frequently when selling you cars. I can't get over how long this hat takes to pop up. How have they not fixed this shit yet? Why does it do that? I don't understand it. It's like it's a hat. It's not like a building having to load in. It's not like a massive neon sign. It's your hat. Why are the rest of your clothes completely fine and the hat takes an eternity to show up? I just don't understand that at all. Sorry, I'm driving really shit here because I'm consulting this list. Screen space reflections I mentioned. Okay. Nibbles the cat that you get for your apartment. He will now, instead of just sitting in one spot, I think it was in the basket next to V's bed, he will now, every time you leave your apartment, he will randomly teleport to a different position in the apartment. This is nothing groundbreaking. This does not affect the game at any capacity. And I only think he now switches between like 2 or 3 positions. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to drive around here for a bit. The driving feels... What's the thing? Like, the driving in this game, I mentioned before, it's far from ideal, far from fantastic. I managed to get the bikes feeling alright. Cars are very iffy. Oh shit, what have I run into here? Oh god. Okay, so I get into combat, immediately the game starts becoming significantly choppier. I don't know if that shows up on the footage, but it definitely dropped a significant amount of frames there. As for that screen space reflections aspect that I mentioned earlier, the game does look a bit clearer. I will say that. Especially things off in the distance. They look a bit sharper. By the way, that you see the way the ads will like pop into existence again? That's still there, where if you don't look at an ad and then you bring the camera around, I think it's better shown off if I'm on foot. So like, see that? The way the ads pop into existence when you look away and then you look back. Hold it. That's still there. That's another thing I don't think they're ever going to change. God, my camera sensitivity is crazy high. Next up on the list we have difficulty now affecting how quickly enemies will detect you. So obviously easy, it'll take a hell of a lot longer for enemies to realize you're close by, and with every subsequent difficulty increase it will take them a shorter period of time to realize you're there. And if you set the game to very hard, not only will enemies realize you're there significantly faster, they will also be aggressive as hell in hunting you down when they're in that alerted state of being. The driving, honestly, the driving in terms of the frames and the smoothness, it's never felt atrocious, except on day one, I would say. So the driving I've never really had a massive issue with in terms of the smoothness. The handling, though, is a completely different story. That's never been good. Never been fantastic. Even with the additional vehicle sensitivity controls they implemented in the previous patch, it's still crap, in all honesty. Let me switch over. I think those are all the major fixes and changes worth mentioning. Of course, there's the massive, extremely extensive bug fixing list that, if you want to get like nitty-gritty details of how they've gone in and like altered surgically hundreds of aspects of the game, you know, minor quests when it comes to quests not functioning properly or specific NPCs not behaving the way they're supposed to. The patch notes are honestly something you should spend a lot of time on. This is another thing. So they did that pre-1.3 stream last night, where they had like 5 people, Miles, Patrick Mills, some of the community managers, I think, talking about this patch. They were hyping it up, and they were talking about the DLC primarily. And I think they did themselves a massive disservice by having this stream, because they focused on the DLC. They didn't really show any of the performance tweaks or bug fixes they made, because, I don't know, that would require them to like go in to each individual quest and try and replicate the circumstances involved with these bugs. By the way, look how empty these streets are right now. That's another thing they're never going to really fix. I think it's sort of a compromise to get the game running the way it is right now on these last generation consoles. They got to reduce the traffic significantly. I mean, what do you think? The way the game looks right now, aside from the grotesque amounts of pop-in, it's probably as good as it's going to look. But I don't really care about looks as much as I do performance. And the performance, I think Miles or Pavel said this in the 1.3 announcement tweet today, that they've still got a way to go. They're still not stopping fixing this game. I don't know, man. Let's try out some combat. Kill some random NPCs. Hello, what do we have here? Keep in mind, it has been probably a month since I played this game. Oh my god, my controller sensitivity is so high. I mean, this isn't like high intensity combat by any means. Combat feels fine. Feels the same as it's always felt. But obviously, the more enemies on screen, the more chaos is happening, the more the game is going to chug along. Here we have the revolutionary NPC AI of the game in full effect. This guy's looking at that car and he's like, whoa! The style! I can't handle this! Anyway. What else did I want to replicate? Oh yeah, the menus. The menus, of course. We gotta drive fast. We gotta open the menus. We gotta see how long it takes the menu to load. Of course. Hat still takes forever to show up. I can't get over that fact. It's so ridiculous to me. Okay. And I'm gonna open the menu. No. Okay, that seems to be improved. It doesn't seem to take as long to pop up as it previously did. Wait, oh, of course, my head disappears when I open up. And there's the freezing. Okay. I don't know if that showed up on the video, but there was a full, like, 3 seconds of frozen game right there. And the game's freezing again. 2 seconds. So about that, you know, FPS consistency improvement and the memory fixing. Memory fixing is probably, I can't really test that without playing for an extremely long period of time, but in terms of frames per second stability, yeah, that's not amazing. The micro stutters are still all over the place, and it doesn't even occur exclusively during quick saving. That's another thing that amazes me. I can understand if it's quick saving, but these things just happen randomly. I'm gonna open up the other menu now, the one with the journal and that kind of shit. Okay. Yeah, this is about the same in terms of length. My cursor's not even loaded in yet. Yeah, it's about the same time period it used to take for it to load up. At least my hat's still on this time, thank merciful Christ for that. I'm not gonna show off the jackets, I'm not gonna show off the car, nobody gives a shit about that stuff really. It's all cosmetic crap. I'm more concerned about how the game looks and runs. I could care less about jackets and cars. Let's walk around here for a bit. See how the game performs whilst on foot. I'm not in one of the most dense areas, to be honest. And the game is still having these frequent micro stutters. This is also not a new game. Whether that actually matters or not is still up for debate. Some people think it fixes some of the issues, but until CDPR explicitly stated, hey, you should probably start a new game off this patch, these streets are just an absolute ghost town, by the way. I am at no risk whatsoever of being hit by a car. I don't know. In terms of performance, just running around and driving around, if I were to equate it, or if I were to put it into like a number that doesn't really have any solid accuracy or scientific backup behind it, I'd say this game is maybe about 5% improved in terms of smoothness. These are just numbers I'm pulling out of my ass. But it looks better. I can say that with confidence. The graininess seems to be significantly reduced. If my memory serves me correctly. Keep in mind, like I said, I played this like a month ago. It's been so long since I played this game, I had to like refresh myself on the controls before I started recording. I just see no merit in playing this game in its current state on the base PS4. For me, I'd rather wait until I can, you know, get my hands on a PS5 and then experience the game with the next-gen patch implemented. The thing is, like, even then, and I say this in every single one of these videos, it's like, oh, okay. I guess I could, and did get hit by a car. Wow. These guys just popped out behind me, huh? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Even with the next-gen patch and the game looking fantastic and running at 60 FPS and all that good shit, the game is just, it's just so, I don't know, it's weird. It just feels like strangely empty. Not just pedestrians, not just vehicles, I'm talking about the game mechanics itself. Which is a shame. A good way to put it, I think, is I've really fallen in love with this game in terms of everything except the game. I like the game when it's not the game, if that makes sense. Like, I like the lore, I like the characters, I like the way the city looks. It's just something about the gameplay that doesn't feel satisfying or fulfilling. Oops. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. I was hit so hard by that slow-moving car, I'm now on top of it. Damn, that's a nice car. Oh, man. Wait. You know, there's something wrong in that picture. Something wrong with this picture right now. I mean... I'm not doing anything unusual. I'm just walking around. I'm not even sprinting. I'm just walking around, minding my own business, admiring the scenery, and Cyberpunk becomes Cyberpunk 2077. My final verdict. Jesus, this controller sensitivity. I should have adjusted this before I started playing. My final verdict for this patch, in terms of performance, the game looks a bit better. In terms of how much better it runs, probably about 5% better. Is it worth coming back into Cyberpunk 2077 after patch 1.3? In terms of bug fixes, in terms of playability, now is the best time to hop into this game if you're playing it on base PS4 for the first time. There's no question about that. In terms of stability and bug fixes, the game has never looked better. But in terms of performance, no, it's still iffy. Let's see if I can get one of those low-res NPCs to pop up. I haven't seen one of those in a while. Before I started recording, there was a point where I stopped my car, and the car next to me hadn't loaded in properly, and it looked like a tissue box with wheels, essentially. I don't know, the NPCs all look like they're loading in properly. So that's good. That used to be a big issue. So maybe they've got the NPCs loading in down. Yeah, they all seem fine. Buildings, on the other hand, are a different story. You drive quickly, you stop the car, the buildings, you are going to notice them loading in big time. Hold on. I thought that car didn't load in properly. Hup. I know I'm not really, like, saying much, because it's not really a massive amount to say just by, you know, walking around and playing this game. The real meat and potatoes of this patch is, as I mentioned, the hundreds and hundreds of... Did that guy not load in properly? I don't think he did. Is that a... I don't even know. The real meat and potatoes of the patch lies in the hundreds of bug fixes they've made. While performance was a main issue that they talked about, it still seems... I don't know. It's nowhere near being even in what I would call polished. What are we approaching 9 months after the game's release? It's not terrible, okay, in all honesty. But it's not something to be proud of either. I'm just pushing the D-pad here, trying to remember which button summons the vehicle. Let's go for Jackie's Arch. So when they eventually do big DLC, like on the scale of Blood and Wine, I honestly have no idea how that's going to turn out. Because one of the things they mentioned in the 1.3 pre-launch live stream last night was that they wanted to stress the fact how making even a slight change to a feature in this game could potentially unravel the entire system. And I got a question, like, how have you designed this game where making such small changes causes such catastrophic damage to the foundation of the game? I'm no game expert myself. In terms of game design, I am definitely not an expert, and I might not even be knowing what the hell I'm talking about currently, but to me, that doesn't make sense. Let's crash into a car quickly and see what happens. Nice! Complete realism! That's exactly what I thought would happen! Let's go for this car. Wow. Outstanding. Simply outstanding. Yeah, this game is... I don't know, man. This is just my unscripted, honest opinion. I'm playing through this for the first time with patch 1.3 enabled. The additional content, they've added a little additional content menu here. Talk about the alternative appearance for Johnny Silverhand. I think he looks terrible in this new appearance. The new jackets I mentioned, the new cars. I'm not going to go to my apartment. I'm not going to, like, go and drive and find this car. It's pointless. So they mention here, by the way, that you can switch it up in the game settings for adjusting the alternative appearance for Johnny Silverhand. I went through these settings, I'm not joking, for about 6 minutes. I cannot find the setting that enables/disables Johnny's alternate appearance. What have we got? Dynamic range presets, volume off, volume sound effects, volume dialogue, volume music, volume car ready, volume miscellaneous. Mute detection sound, disable copyrighted music. Subtitles, cinematic, text size. Overhead text size, background display is not in there. Controls, controller vibration, steering sensitivity, dead zone, horizontal sensitivity, blah 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 blah. Tuning delay, horizontal steering, invert, horizontal axis, vertical sensitivity, invert vertical axis, response curve. He's not in there. Gameplay, game difficulty, aim assist, snap to target, aim assist, melee combat. Right from third person perspective. Tutorials, TV dialogue, nope, not in gameplay. Graphics, foam grain, chromatic aberration, depth of field, lens flare, motion blur, nope, not in graphics. Video, HDR mode, nope. Interface, damage number mode, damage number, hit indicator, strength damage indicator, center of screen dot overlay. I think this is a new thing as well. They added the ability to put a dot overlay in the center of the screen to help people who get severely motion sick while playing these games. That's nice. Should have been in the game from day one, unless it was, and I didn't know. Minimap, health bar, stamina and oxygen, boss health bars, ammo counter, hints, action buttons, activity log, crosshair, job tracker, Johnny Silverhand HUD elements. I don't think that's the alternative appearance. Target marker, NPC names. So where is the ability to switch between Johnny's current default outfit and the new outfit? It's not here, is it? I'm clicking everything in here, nothing's changing. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it, but I don't know. It doesn't look like it's in. Get out of the car. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, it's been so long since I've driven an actual car in this game, because I typically tend to stick to bikes, because I've managed to nail down the sensitivity for them. Actually, you know, this vehicle doesn't handle too badly. So yeah, this isn't an in-depth analysis video of the patch by any means. This is just my first impressions, walking around, driving around, faffing around in the game. My first impressions on the base PS4. Not the PS... The physics of that car just seemed a bit off to me. Very toy car-esque. This is base PS4, this isn't PS4 Slim, this isn't PS4 Pro, this is base PS4. And if the footage looks a bit crap, or a lot crap, it's because this is being recorded internally, using the PlayStation 4's built-in recording system. So what do you guys think? In all honesty, as soon as I stop recording this video, I'm not continuing playing this game. I'll keep checking back in with every patch that gets released. But right now, it's just no real driving factor for me to continue playing this game as it stands. I mean, I bought Saints Row the 3rd Remastered finally recently when it was on sale, and I am having an absolute blast in that game playing it again. I mean, I had it on PS3, so I finished the game before. So I'll definitely continue playing that. I think that's a hell of a statement on this game, is that I would rather play a remastered PlayStation 3 game than a game that was released in, what, December last year, that was, quote, supposed to be the next generation of open world RPGs. Okay. I think I'm going to end this video, yeah. I've waffled on long enough. I've offered my initial impressions. If you want more detailed notes on what was actually changed in this patch, check out the patch notes. I'll link it in the description. But other than that, I don't even know what to say. There's nothing initially or instantly, you know, that's making me... There's nothing... When I started up this game, like I said, initially I was impressed because it felt smoother. But the longer I played, the more I realized this is pretty much just the same thing. The one admission I will make is that it looks a bit better. It looks a bit better, and that is honestly that's about it. Aside from bug fixes, aside from glaring, when I talk about like things that I'm focusing on this video, I'm talking about things that are in your face constantly in this game, like the driving, the walking, the menus. I'm not talking about the bug fixes, because they are there, and they are numerous, and they are good. So it's another one of those patches that focuses on bug fixes and nothing overtly in your face. So till next patch, I am not going to continue playing this game.